на нашето събитие, сигурно са забелязали, че тази година четвъртия панел съвпада с този, който беше миналата година. Добри чуждестранни практики от електроиндустрията. Тоест, канене експерти от чуждестранни инвеститори в България или чужбина, които да ни представят някакви нови тенденции в техния бизнес и производство. Чуждестранните инвеститори в сектор електроиндустрия, електротехника и електроника имат много важно място в българската икономика. По наши данни, около 60% от персонала или около 36 000 души работят в фирми на чуждестранни инвеститори в България. И те генерират чуждестранните инвеститори в електроиндустрията около 76% от оборота на бранша. Тоест, играят наистина една много ключова роля в нашата индустрия и българската икономика. И да има възможност да навлизат много по-бързо новите технологии и иновации в производствата в България. Така, ами сега давам думата на Минко за кратка презентация. Заповядай, Минко, ако искаш от място. Ще стане.
Alright, good afternoon everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited to present after such interesting panels and forums. We're going to deep dive into the world of electronics, microelectronics for the electrical industry, for the robotics industry and others, with some focus on products and best practices. So, jumping straight into it, a bit about our company. First of all, we've been established 35 years ago with global presence. We've also been 25 years now in Bulgaria doing electronics from our home country in Europe. We have our Triaxis technology, which is unique in its essence, one of the most accurate for 3D sensing of magnetic elements. And we really have 2,000 people. We are a Belgian company, but with a strong Bulgarian footprint because more than half of the office is actually in Bulgaria, where we do the business development, we do the design, we do the architecture, then we do the production checks and shipments to pretty much every car in the world. So from Bulgaria we have 1 or 2 sensors in every car globally around the planet. Last but not least, 50% of our personnel is actually engineers, and what is also great is that we have 34% women, but in Bulgaria it's actually nearly 50% women in terms of management and engineering positions, and they very much contribute to our success. I will show you what we do on the next slide, and then I'm going to focus on the trends that are in the market and the best practices that we deploy to stay ahead of competition, to bring innovation, and to win new markets. So first of all, what we do is that we do the chip design, we do the package design, then on the top is internal, because we're a fabless company. That is the very traditional way of doing things in terms of innovation. We unfortunately have some of our production out of Europe, and we want to bring that also closer to home. But then we do the fabrication in different countries. We bring it back for checks internally here in Bulgaria and France and Germany. Then we ship it out again for packaging in the Far East. And the final product we check of what they have manufactured for us, because we are the architects, we own the IP, we design the product for final checks before we ship to customers. Now, coming back to the trends of what is really hot in the market and what are the best practices. Well, the best practices nowadays, in this crazy world I might say, is really diversification. So globally, we've been an automotive business with more than 90% of our revenue from automotive, from the main OEMs around the world. But we're also focusing on the right-hand side, on the beyond automotive aspect that we call, because we're really looking into robotics. Because the trends are automation, the trends are smart cities, the trends are an aging population, which requires assistance and care. It means automation of factories and actually working on higher added value jobs in terms of design and creation. We don't want to do the automation that much in terms of human labor. And we also look at digital health in terms of checking your vitals. We have an aging global population. We want to deliver more health and prosperity to individuals. That's another big trend where we try to diversify. And most importantly, it's also next to automotive, we have the e-bikes of Europe, we have the scooters of India and Japan, and that's another market we want to enter. Next to the electrification, of course, of the automotive industry. I will not jump into that, but we're all benefiting from it in terms of cable assemblies that we do here, in terms of smart electronics that we integrate into assemblies, and more. Good. Then what I want to show you today are really 3 innovative products. 2 of them are actually not even launched on the market yet, so you're one of the first to see them globally. And I start with the latest one, which is going to come out later this year. And I think it was quite appropriate for this forum where we have a lot of copper, a lot of wiring, a lot of automation, a lot of harnesses. And that is what we do here with a very simple switch. Like earlier we saw the Lagrange switch, which is a contact switch for buildings. But here we have a switch for the automotive industry, which is contactless, robust, and smart. Basically, you take a simple 2 wires, you remove the PCB so you save cost for your customer, you connect it directly to the harness, and there is a lot of harness manufacturers in Bulgaria and Romania. We see them moving from the west to the east, so we should take advantage of this and work together on such smart devices, and directly put it in your seatbelt. And actually, from Bulgaria, we own more than 50% of the global seatbelt market in the world. So if you go in your car and somebody puts a screwdriver, they're basically screwing over our business. But next to that, we're also addressing the safety aspect in cars with a new requirement in terms of safety for German cars, for example. They need to know how far you are from the wheel so that you can deploy the airbag. And actually that's what we do with the sensor. It's tracking where you're sitting in your car. So we're again introducing safety. That's another trend next to diversification. Jumping through into something more innovative, I would say, where we're really looking into robotics and making the world a better place. And we are launching a new product later this month actually, so we're one of the first to see it, where we already mentioned with the previous presentation about robotics and control. Well, actually, this also requires hardware, it's not only the software aspect of it. And what we do here is that actually we have up to 6 joints in a robot to mimic a full human motion in the wrist, in the elbow, in the shoulder. Our colleagues from Festo are also doing robotics, more in the pneumatic world. We're on the electrical side. And what we do here is actually that we do a very thin joint, which can give very accurate robotic positioning. So a robot can really pick an egg, it can really hold an egg, it can really move it. That requires very fine precision. And I just wanted to point out one interesting parameter about this one, the 22-bit resolution. So that is actually 4 million steps on the output. So you can detect 4 million tiny positions. And if you center that around the equator of the Earth, you will have a resolution of every 3 meters changing the output. So you can really detect changes of the equator every 3 meters, and you put that in the resolution of the joint of a robot. That's how fine we have to be in order to achieve the tasks that the human is doing on a daily basis. Good. And the final small aspect I want to look at with a big impact is a bit closer to heart, a bit closer to home. It's actually in cooking, and again, automation, daily life that we address challenges of. This is actually, our sensor is at the bottom, and it's measuring contactless. What is the temperature, the exact temperature, actually with medical grade accuracy, of your pot? And you might think, well, who cares? Well, in fact, in ovens, you know what the temperature is because you set a recipe to 175 degrees, 25 minutes, and you cook a chicken. Okay, but actually in your pot, nobody knows the exact temperature of your pot. So to do fine dining and actually fine cooking with automated robots, you would need to know the actual temperature of your pot. And we do it contactless, through the glass, through the ceramics, without a hole in your pot. Some some other manufacturers do it with a hole, so imagine it gets dirty, you have to clean it. No, this is contactless, it's easy, and it's smart, and you can really automate your cooking again for the future, and you can do safety monitoring as well for other applications like fires and so on. Yes. And coming to my final conclusion of today is that really the trends are to diversify. So one should look for other markets to have more stability in your sales, in your portfolio, and you should also look for innovation in your products to stand out. And that was the start of the discussion that we really should protect our European IP with patents. So thank you. I'm looking forward to some questions after the panel.
Okay. Надявам се, че ще има доста въпроси. Давам думата на Румяна Илиева от Фесто производство.
Здравейте от мен. Благодаря първо за възможността да се включим в това представяне, в тази хубава конференция и възможност да споделим добри практики и да се запознаем. Аз също като колегата ще мина на английски, предполагам, че ще се разбирам. So, thank you very much for everybody that attending here. My name is Rumiana Ilieva and I'm representative of Festo Production. Festo is a stated company, German company in Bulgaria, but also strongly like Melexis, we also have quite a good footprint in Bulgaria because we have a big production facility and also a big R&D center in Sofia and also in location of Gabrovo. I'm representative of Technical Engineering Center and I'm leading one of the departments into the Technical Engineering Center here in Sofia. Into the perspective of Festo, I would like to share that it's a company which is connected with industrialization. So all of the products that Festo developed is providing the possibility to start from a small sensor which is positioned to detect and to evaluate the status of the machines to the edge devices which collect the data and afterwards transfer it to the needed evaluation and of course to find out what is the needed status of the machines and so on. So, my topic for today is innovation trends into the industrial electronics. I will start with Internet of Things because nevertheless in the previous group of colleagues it was shared that we are talking about the different step of industry, so the different trends like Industry 4.0, Industry 5.0, and IoTs are something that is coming from the Industry 4.0, but it's something will stay and will be also a trend in Industry 5.0. Into the perspective of Festo, we have quite good solution into the perspective of industrial facilities, how we can collect the data on the machine. So we have a very nice tool named Smartness, which collects the data from each of the machines inside of one automatization factory and collect all the needed data, of course, which our customer needs. What is the benefit? Well, the benefit, of course, is that we want really to look into the perspective of efficiency. Doesn't matter is it a cost, is it to find out how we can be more effective, how we can reduce our energy efficiency. Going further, I would like to also point out something that also was mentioned in the other presentation, digital twin. Into the perspective of Festo, digital twin is something that is supporting the development process. Because if we imagine that one system is looked as some blocks which are positioned one into another, when you start to make this industrialization, not all the modules you have available on the market. That is why you needed a digital twin. The digital twin in the perspective of phase 2 and the development process of phase 2 is represented, let's say, like a box. A box that contains different information like data sheet, like information of the models that can be easily implemented into one kinematic system and to have the possibility with our motion sizing tool to perform the virtual commissioning. Why we needed this? Because we want to speed up the process, the development process. You know, everything that brings you up to be possible to be faster on the market, it's always beneficial, and also the development process is something that can be also a benefit for the company if it's possible to be speed up. So this is why we use a digital twin into the perspective of development to reduce the development time and also to increase the quality of the system that we provide at the end to our customer. At the end, but not, I would say, as a last statement, the development process is really important for each of the steps in our factories and our customers. That is why I would say that digital twin is something that we really have to invest more. I would also like to say that the next trend that I would like to share a topic and an interest on is the artificial intelligence. Because as we said, from the IoT systems, we are collecting a lot of data. At the end, this data have to be analyzed. And the easiest and the efficient way to analyze the data, this is the artificial intelligence. I will not, how to say, I do not like to convince you that it's important to use the artificial intelligence. It's not my point. My point is that I would like to really to show you that with such a big amount of data that we are surrounded, the easiest way to work on it and to analyze it, this is the artificial intelligence. That is why we have also integrated in our tools a possibility to analyze the system into our factories and to reduce the downtimes into the automation system, automation factories with 25% just using the data analyzed by artificial intelligence. This is quite good benefit because nevertheless, you don't want your line to be stopped and you cannot produce because it costs money, right? And nevertheless, something which also is a benefit with using of such artificial intelligence is quality. Of course, if you want to have a quality product on the market, you have to check also that as much as possible in advance the information about the quality on your machines. Into the perspective of phase 2 automations, we are working quite often with air. The artificial intelligence quite easy provide us the possibility to follow if there are any leakages into the system that we are providing. It comes up that 65% of our leakages into the system that we provide can be detected again with such machine learning models. I would say it's quite impressive. And the next trend that I would like to share with you that FED also is working on is wireless technologies. Because it is something that is coming into the perspective, again, reduction of the cost, going into the more efficient factories, going into the more efficient markets. Of course, there are still challenges into the wireless technologies because from the perspective of wireless technologies, we are working into we are talking about the factories that are bigger, really big factories that the distance between machines are, for example, like more than 10-15 meters. Because still, I would say, if the distance is in the range of 10 to 15 meters, then we can really keep the cabling. So it's still cheaper to use cables instead of the wireless. But of course, when we are talking about mega factories, something that the trend shows it will be coming, we have to also have products connected with wireless technologies. Of course, the disadvantage in this direction is that we cannot ensure the power part of the products. And this is something that still will stay with cables. But in the perspective of sensors, it's quite easy to ensure the communication between the sensor and the machines that collected information of the sensors based on the IO-Link wireless approach. And this is quite also sufficiently a topic that Phase 2 is working on, and we'll have very soon a product that will be presented on the market side. And as we discussed in the previous loops, cybersecurity, it's a topic which is reaching all of us. Doesn't matter is it on a level to protect our data to come official in any stage, but also on the level of factories. Because such cyber attack can affect our factories and can cause a lot, and can cause a lot of issues and stop of the production if such incident appears. That is why Phase 2 as a company also is providing the possibility for our customer to report any incident which is happened with their products and to react immediately on such attacks to provide the bug fixes that can quite easy and quite fast establish into the perspective of implementation into the system that they have. As I said, it's a topic that really impacts us and we have to be prepared and really to react fast on it. And talking about our future, up to now I would say the main trend into the perspective of electronics is electronic components which are based mainly on silicon wafers. And I'm sure that Dinko will confirm. Because as our also supplier, Alexis is providing us Hall sensors for some of our modules. But nevertheless, if we want to have more speed in our products, to have more speed in our operation system, we have to search for other alternative solutions. I will not say that the silicon wafers will be exchanged in the next 5 years because it stays still the most effective and the most price effective, I would say, think into the electronic environment. But if we want to be competitive, this will be also a part that we need research on, and we have to think about how we will provide our new products and how we will build up our new products in industrialization, automatization. So we are looking forward to see also this trend and what will be, I would say, the winning replacement of the silicon wafers. But let's see, the future will show us. So thank you very much for your attention.
Сега имам удоволствието да ви представя Юрген Ван Груп, с когото се запознах в рамките на едно служебно пътуване в Белгия миналата година. Ще ви представя една много интересна презентация, която видях там и счетох, че би било интересно и за аудиторията в България да се запознае с нея. Юрген,
Thank you. The reason why I'm here is because I would like to inform you about new technologies that are coming up and what I think you should be aware of. And this is about the Einstein technology. Now, what you need to know is at this very moment we are back in the year 1600. That means 400 years ago, Galilei Galilei for the first time looked at the universe, did cosmology with a telescope. And that means from there until today, most of the cosmology has been done with electromagnetic waves. So I'm looking at regular telescopes, infrared telescopes, radio. All of these inventions of all these detections have been done with electromagnetic waves. Most of them it is. Now that means at this very moment we only know about 5% in the universe. And this we have dark matter. We know dark matter exists. We can prove it even. We can even prove it's 5 times more than what we have than what you can see right here. We know that there is dark energy, but we cannot feel it, we cannot measure it. Until Einstein, for the first time in 1915, put up a formula where he said, wait a minute, there must be something like gravitational waves. Gravitation, also just like light, travels through the universe with the speed of light, and gravitational waves should exist. And that's the whole thing. He thought that was going to happen, but he already said you will never ever be able to measure this. It's so small that you cannot measure this. But nowadays we are still looking for ways how we can measure the universe, not by electromagnetic waves, but based on gravity. And to give you an idea, this congress is now going on from 10 a.m. this morning. You have been squeezed together, you have been pulled apart, you have been hit in the face 300 times as of this morning by gravitational waves that we could have measured with the Einstein telescope. And the reason for that is because of black holes colliding together, neutron stars colliding together, supernovas exploded, right? And that all of these waves went right through your body. The reason why you don't feel bizarre at the moment is because those waves are extremely small. Now look at the numbers. You have, in the numbers, we go from meters, decimeters, centimeters, millimeters, and so on. At some point, we go into the microchip level. We've talked about microchip levels. The new microchip levels at this moment are on the level of 10 to the power minus 9 nanometers. If you add 1 0, we come into the level of angstrom. Angstrom, that's 10 to the power minus 10 meters. That is the size of atoms. Let's add 4 zeros. Now we are at the kernel of an atom. 10 to the power minus 14. 10 to the power 15. Another 0. Now you're at neutrons and protons. The measurements that we need to do, for those you need to add another 10 zeros. 10 to the power 24, minus 24, 25. That's what we want to measure. We already know it can be done, but because it has been done the first time 10 years ago by LIGO in the United States. And the technology that they are using is this. The moment the Earth gets hit by a gravitational wave, it is deformed. The deformation you can see right there is exaggerated with a factor, let's say 10 to the power 31. So it's not that bad, happily enough, otherwise the Earth would be torn apart. But the whole thing is, the moment the Earth moves like that, you can use interferometry, which is lasers going in two different sides. And the moment the Earth is squeezed together, the laser light is changed, and by measuring the laser light, we can also measure how much the Earth is being deformed by gravitational waves. So that's a technique that we want to use. The new one, because LIGO is good, and Virgo in Italy, there's also a gravitational wave interferometer, is also good. We need a better one. And a better one means an incredibly large one. We need what you want to do, and there are 3 scientists at this moment who are a candidate. I, for myself, I'm promoting the candidacy for the 3-corner point between Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands. So right there, we would like to build a triangle, and just consider it a triangle with arms of 10 kilometers, 250 meters under the ground. Now, for the people who know CERN, that would be the new CERN. And that's also the reason why I'm putting this up to you, because CERN, everyone knows somebody who has worked in CERN. Well, this will be the new one. And what will happen is this will happen in the next, let's say, 15 years. So it's an early heads up. Now, if you look at the blue characters down there, that's on scale. So these are massive corner points, massive caverns on the corner points, where we have towers of 23 meters high. In these towers there will be mirrors located that bounce back and forth the lasers. Those mirrors will be, the reason why they are in these towers is because they need to balance up to a level that they're no longer shaking because of the Earth. There's a lot of technology that we still need to do. And here also, look at this, what needs to happen. We need technology on the level of the instrument itself. We need technology on the level of the construction, and we need technology on the level of sustainability, because we want to make this a green, we want to comply with the Green Deal, we want to make this a green Einstein telescope. A few examples. Let's go from the lower case, the science case. That's the reason why we want to do this. And you would say, okay, science case, that's not my business. But we also need to create the Einstein instrument itself. And that's something where we do need to involve very many people. We have environmental topics like, for instance, sustainability, energy. That's also something that needs to happen. And of course, we want to make all of that, we want to make that going to the markets, going to the companies as soon as possible. That's right, the reason why valorization is covering everything. And we have examples now on the EMR level. We have already seismology, geology. There's elementary research already going on that level, on earth sciences. We have technology going on stability, on control, high-level controls for suspension systems. We have engineering going on optical systems, laser systems, absolutely new laser systems that need to be developed, new types of coatings that need to be developed. Now you can see right through this mirror. Trust me, this is an extremely highly performant mirror, which is 99.99995% accurate for one single frequency. We can see right through it because all the other frequencies we can see, but this is an absolute perfect mirror that you can see right here. We need new research to happen on sustainable energy. We need new researchers, definitely new research on energy storage. As a matter of fact, you see the whole list here of technologies that we are working on at this very moment, where we need people to be involved from all over Europe. These are technologies, just thinking of it, these are technologies. Right now we're setting up a bid book, 3 candidates, Italy, the EMR region, so Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, and then there's also a second location in Germany. We're setting up a bid book, needs to be ready by the end of 2026. 27 will be taking the decision. Then we will have, so all the engineers in the room, be aware, we have an engineer party for 15 years. Building the Einstein telescope will take at least 15 years, where we need an enormous amount of energy, of engineering problems to be solved. And after that, we need 50 years of detections to be done. And then it's the physics. So as a matter of fact, I'm building this telescope for the grandchildren. So that's why we are doing this. So what I want to make you aware of is there is an Einstein telescope coming up. It's not there yet, it will be built. I want you to be checking out whether you can join out through the industry or through your science people. And do think of it, don't look at the Einstein telescope as something that you want to be selling things to. There's also a lot of new technology that's coming up, just like with CERN. There's a lot of new technology that's coming up where I want you to be aware that you can use that technology. So be aware about what the new inventions are going to happen. Thank you.
Така, стана малко време, аз бих предложил, ако има въпроси от аудиторията първо към нашите лектори. Поне аз задал първо един въпрос на промяна. Какъв е всъщност приноса на ФЕСТО за процеса на интеграция на изкуствения интелект и на машинното обучение, на машин learning?
Благодаря много за въпроса. В посока на ФЕСТО ние използваме, както казах и в презентацията, изкуственият интелект в посока анализиране на данни. Това, което бих казала, че предстои да излезем на пазара в края на тази година, е един продукт, в който ще използваме изкуствения интелект и ще го вложим в изделие на ФЕСТО с цел да се редуцира времето, което е нужно да се подава захранване към модула, т.е. от гледна точка на ефективност, това ще бъде продукт, който ще спомогне в посока индустриализация за по-добри решения, които ще бъдат ефективни за компаниите и съответно ще допринесат за редуциране на техните разходи.
Минко, много така детайлна презентация беше много интересна, но какви фактически са стратегическите приоритети и добрите практики на Мелекси за бъдещо развитие?
Да. Благодарите. Добрите практики всъщност са наистина диверсификацията е много важна в днешно време. Локалния футпринт в този глобален свят, който се малко децентрализира. И наистина търсенето на иновация за проблемите на клиента, т.е. в роботика какъв е проблема, в автомобилната индустрия какъв е проблема, за здравето на хората какъв е проблема, за да може да измислиш иновативно решение, за което биха платили на твоя бизнес, за да продадеш продукта си. Тази диверсификация и иновация е нашия фокус сега с R&D spending над 10% и на няколко континента, бих казал. Това е.
Аз пък се обръщам към аудиторията, въпреки че сте вече може би малко уморени, ако има някакъв въпрос. Okay. Jürgen, the Einstein in Belgium or in English telescope is a big project that seems to be dedicated to scientific people. How can smaller companies be involved and contribute to the technology?
Indeed, if you look at it, if you look at the tunnel boring part, and if you look at all the vacuum systems that we need, there you would say, okay, these are big companies that need to be involved. Just think of it, we need thousands of smaller items to be constructed for the Einstein telescope. Where, as a matter of fact, medium-sized and small companies are better fit to do that because of the flexibility. And I would like to give one example. We had somebody, a business developer from a small company, small, we say 46 people. They construct machinery. They went to CERN, and CERN was at that moment investigating the vacuum pipes for the Einstein telescope. And he heard all these professors talking about quantum physics and about atoms colliding together. And he said, at that moment, I was trying to hide under the table and hope that nobody would ask me questions. I said, at the end, they were talking about just think of it, we need 130 kilometers of vacuum pipe with a diameter of 1 meter. He said, at that moment, I said, okay, wait a minute, they were talking about 10,000 to 13,000 pieces of pipe that I wanted to weld it together. He said, that's never going to happen. So I can make you a machine, in our company we can make you a machine that can create 500 meters of a vacuum pipe in one piece. Just bring down the rolls of steel down there in the cellars. We will put a machine down there that will weld, that will apply that steel into the pipes. We will weld it and that's it. Well, suddenly they reserved a full hour for him in that congress to talk about that machine. So even small companies, if specialized, can have a lot of impact on the Einstein telescope. So yes, we need a lot more.
Последен въпрос. Нека бъде пак към Юрген. If you are thinking of good international practices, how will that be implemented in the Einstein telescope?
There are already gravitational wave detectors. So we have one in the United States, which is definitely only managed by Americans, or mainly managed by Americans. We have one in Italy, which is mainly managed up to so far by Italians, Italy and France. If you look at, for instance, the Einstein telescope, which we planned in the EMR region, we already have 11 countries that say, okay, we want to be involved. The Einstein telescope is a bit more like CERN. It is expected to be a European endeavor, and it is expected to have an international group of researchers working on this. So in that sense, it's just a matter of, okay, we want to join that cooperation, we want to join that partnership, and I can only invite Belgrade to be part of either the Virgo collaboration or the Einstein telescope collaboration. Just have researchers already start with this, and then have ILO people also connect to the Einstein telescope to see what Belgrade can either bring in or take out of the technology.
Thank you, Jürgen. Така, има време за още един въпрос, ако някой има да зададе, явно не. Така че, преди да приключим този панел, само искам и преди да закрием официалната част на събитието, искам да припомня на колегите, че Агенцията за малки и средни предприятия удължи срока за търговската мисия за технологичното изложение в Порто, така че ако някой има интерес, може да се запише все още. Така, благодаря на лекторите, благодаря ви още веднъж.